All right, welcome everybody. Today we are doing a special live playthrough with author Jed Herne of his new epic fantasy interactive fiction game, Siege of Treboulain, which is out today, April 14th. And Jed Herne is the fantasy author of Fires of the Dead, Across the Broken Stars, and the Thunder Heist. And he's also a fellow podcaster and host of the podcast Wizards, Warriors, and Words with authors Dyrk Ashton, Rob J. Hayes, and Michael R. Fletcher. So welcome, Jed. How's it going?
Thanks for having me on the show, Adrian. I'm doing really, really well. I'm super excited for Siege of Treboulain to be out. I've been working on this thing for 2 years, which has definitely made it the longest project that I've ever worked on. But in a lot of ways, it's been the most rewarding one as well. So, yeah, looking forward to talking about it today.
Awesome. We're excited to play it. But also joining us today for this live playthrough are FanFiAddict's Tori Gross and Connor M. Caplan. Good to see you both again. If you could tell viewers about yourselves a little bit, we'll start with you, Connor.
I am a quadruplet. I'm disabled. I wrote a book called The Sword in the Street that was a self-published fantasy blog off semi-finalist. I can't think of any more interesting facts about me. That's about it.
And he's a cool guy. Welcome to the show, Connor.
He's a very cool guy.
Yeah. And Tori, if you can tell people a bit more about yourself as well.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm a blogger for FanFiAddict, and I have my debut novel coming out hopefully this summer. Tentative release date is July, August. But, we're kind of playing around with it. I have a master's in creative writing, and that's about all that's cool about me.
And your book is called Zodiac Rising, and that's going to be self-published. You got a bunch of really cool people helping you out on that. I know Luke Tarzian's helping you out, right?
Yes, and Nathan Hall is my editor.
Awesome. Cool. We're very excited about that. And today our game plan is more or less to do a play session going through the beginning section of Siege of Treboulain with Jed, making decisions as a group or conflicting wildly in the choices we want to make, but best 2 out of 3. So we'll we'll see what we agree upon and what decisions we end up making. All the while, we'll be tossing Jed questions about the game. So first off, Jed, if you can give us a little pitch on Siege of Treboulain and what this interactive fiction game entails.
Absolutely. So, Siege of Treboulain is an interactive fiction story where you are the ruler of this medieval city that is under siege, and you have to defend it. And through that process, you've kind of got to deal with people inside the city who want to use the crisis to depose you of your throne. You have to uncover some mysteries and some secrets that are sort of lying dormant within the city. And you've also got to decide what strategy you're going to use to defend your city and to defeat the enemy army that is attacking you. So it is kind of like an epic fantasy novel, but unlike a regular novel, you can decide the pathway that the story goes down. So if you've ever played like one of those old text adventures that were, really big back in the 80s, it's very similar to that. Essentially, it's like a choose your own path story. And at the end of every scene, you make a decision and it goes on to a different scene depending on which decision you made. So it's kind of bringing all of the cool things about epic fantasy novels in terms of the large scope of the story, with also all of the cool things about game design, like the fact that you can decide how it ends up. So yeah, that's pretty much the game in a nutshell. And excited to get into it. And I'm sure as we get into it, that'll make a lot more sense as well.
Mm-hmm. And I love that. I mean, I was a huge fan of, Curse of Monkey Island and a lot of those LucasArts point and click adventures, but also, just like the stuff that my older brothers played while I was too young to really understand, but just like a lot of the games where you had more text-based player choice. And I love that you're bringing that back. And first off, Jed's going to be reading each section for us. We have Chapter 1, Festival of the Cultivator. Just real quick, who's the artist who did the chapter headings? Because they're fantastic.
Yeah, so the artist for the game is Phil Simpson. Did an amazing job. If you've seen the overall cover art for it as well, like incredible piece. So yeah, been very, very happy with his work. I was saying before we started recording, it was was kind of nice having a publisher for this as opposed to my previous novels, which were all self-published, and just being able to send them a very like broad brief for the art, and then they just handled everything with the artist and made it look very pretty. And yeah, I just got the final product and was like, oh, this is awesome. So it was nice to see what it's kind of like on that side as well. I do love the process of directing art myself, but it is cool to just have it off your hands and to be pleasantly surprised by the outcome of it at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine just like toss it to somebody else. This is my brief. This is my idea. Go for it. And
exactly,
the end result is fantastic. So why don't you start with chapter 1, and Tori and Connor and I will make the decision.
Cool. Let's get into it. So chapter 1, Festival of the Cultivator. Today we'll decide your city's future. The door to your study swings open, and you look up from your desk. Lord Daein walks inside. The sea breeze wafting through your window makes his purple cloak flutter and ripple. He bows. Your Majesty, the Envric Ambassador is waiting outside the throne room. Envric is one of Treboulin's biggest trading partners, and the Ambassador is here to renegotiate a contract. Get the terms right, and it will be a huge boon for your city. It will also be an excellent start to a busy and important day. Today is the Festival of the Cultivator, which happens only once every 9 years. After meeting the Envric Ambassador, you'll give an opening speech to all of Treboulain, which will begin the festival. Blunder the negotiation with the Envric Ambassador, and questions may arise about your worthiness to rule Treboulain, especially since you're still so new to the throne. Failure is the last thing you can afford on a day when you'll be under constant scrutiny. So your 3 choices are: number 1, send the ambassador in, please. I'm very much looking forward to talking with her. Number 2, make her wait a few more minutes, then send her in. Or number 3, I'm not looking forward to this at all, but I suppose I'd better let her in.
I mean, if we go for...
It's tempting.
I feel like if we go for
it's so
anything other
tempting
than
to
the
just
first
make
one,
the worst possible choice.
Connor, do not fuck this up.
It's so tempting though. Like, what if?
I know, Connor, your like gut reaction's just ugh. All right.
I feel like we have to be
for
cordial.
me,
We have to make a good impression.
Yeah. It's like, this is an ambassador. I'm not like a piece of shit ruler. I'm gonna do this a little bit more professionally, So my choice is send the ambassador in, please.
Right?
Yeah. Connor, you too?
I second that.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
All right, cool. Yeah, we got this. Here we are.
Lord Daein bows. She will appreciate the promptness, Your Highness. Daein retreats from the room to collect the ambassador. He'll tell her to come into the throne room, and then, once she's there, he'll return to let you know. While you wait, you glance around the study. You've only had it for a month, but that's given you plenty of time to impart your own personality. You've filled it with option 1, magically enchanted vines. Number 2, swords and spears resting in racks. Number 3, mirrors, strangely patterned wallpapers, and confusing puzzle boxes. Number 4, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves crammed with texts. Or number 5, religious artwork honoring the cultivator, the goddess of Treboulin's main religion.
Vines.
I want to go with swords.
I want to go with like
I feel like
strange
that's the least
patterned
surprising
wallpapers.
decision.
I want to go with confusing puzzle boxes.
This is either gonna be
how do we get best
or a
2 out
disaster.
how do we get 2?
But my second is magically enchanted vines. That sounds really dope.
And my second
Are
is
we allowed to get
mirrors
meta with the decision making?
Your second is confusing puzzle boxes, mirrors. Yeah. Okay. Oh.
I feel like confusing puzzle boxes would also be my second choice. So.
Okay.
So
that one's like
we like.
All right.
If we're doing
consensus.
like a ranked choice kind of thing, I feel like.
Okay.
I feel like
yeah.
that one would win.
So we got consensus on mirrors, strangely patterned wallpapers, and confusing puzzle boxes.
Interesting choice.
Are we good on that?
What do you mean interesting choice?
You'll find out.
Is that what the whole thing is going to be like? Like every time we make a decision, he's going to be like, interesting that you picked that one.
Just plotting in the background.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Suddenly stroking a cat.
All right. So we're going with mirrors then, all right?
Mirrors, right. Yes.
All right. Cool. And Jed, before we start on this one, actually, we'll go into the throne room, and then I'll ask you a question about the game. So I'll let
Sure.
you read this one.
So, because you chose the mirrors one, many people find the room disorienting and labyrinthine, thanks to the opposing mirrors that see the room extend towards infinity. The swirling wallpapers and incomprehensible puzzle boxes don't help matters either. You, however, find this space provides a certain clarity. It is a reminder of the complex nature of leadership, a reminder of your responsibility to see the world from a unique perspective, so that you can make the best decisions for your people. That, and the puzzles keep you sharp. The door opens again. Dayan steps through. The ambassador waits for you in the throne room, Your Majesty.
Ooh, I like
Into
that.
the throne room.
I like that we're confusing other people, but maintaining clarity within ourselves.
Like the Riddler, but for
That's the most
fantasy.
important.
Exactly. The Riddler of rulers. So before we go on, Jed, what was it like to create an interactive fiction game versus something like a novel or a novella? And what inspired you
Sure.
to do
Well, I'd
this in the
actually,
first place?
yeah, I'd had a little bit of experience with this many, many years ago, where I read this short story collection from this Australian author, Garth Nix, who most people would know him from like the Keys to the Kingdom series or the like Sabriel series as well, which is like a pretty well-established fantasy series. Um, I knew him from a couple of other things, but in this short story collection, he had uh, a novella he'd written back in the 80s, which was like this parody of D&D, of Dungeons and Dragons, where you were like this sort of rogue going into this, how do I describe it? Like this really frenetic medieval city and just like going through all these weird trope filled scenarios. And it was this really comedic, like bonkers experience. I can't even remember what it was called now, which is bad, but it was really good. If you just search up Garth Nix, like choose your own adventure story or something like that, it was essentially this. It was this choose your own adventure story that sort of mocked a lot of the fantasy conventions. And he wrote it when he was really young. And I just thought it was such a good time that pretty much the week after I read that, I would have been back in high school at the time. I just started writing my own version of this story. It was called. It actually still exists out there. So yeah, play the Siege of Treboulain first, and then look at that after if you want to see my embarrassing first steps into this world. But it was called 000, The Affable Agent, and it was supposed to be like a parody of James Bond. So instead of 007, 000. And it was basically just this like really short choose your own adventure style story that was maybe only like 20 or 30 minutes to play. I haven't read it in years, so it's pretty garbage. But basically, that was like maybe 7 years ago. So I'd had a little bit of experience making a sort of choose your own path story then. And essentially, when it came to writing this story, Siege of Treboulain, I thought that that would sort of prepare me for this a little bit, and it did. But this was a very different experience because, as you'll see as we go through the story, every decision makes an impact on the game, but there is a lot of other things going on behind the scenes in order to prevent me from just having to write, a separate scenario for every single choice. So probably the biggest thing that you'll see as we go through is like this initial sequence of negotiating with the ambassador. It's sort of going along the same path, regardless of the choices you make. However, the choices that you make will influence your character's personality, will influence your character's skills, and will influence what people kind of perceive you as. So even though it's going along the same pathway, you will have like a very unique interpretation of that depending on what choices you make. So when it comes to the question of like how was it to actually write something like this, that was probably the initial thing to sort of wrap my head around and to grapple with was like, okay, I need to create some sort of linearness to this story. Like it's impossible to create something where every single choice just diverges the story into three different directions because
Yeah, right.
quite quickly after 5 choices you end up with like, thousands and thousands of scenes.
Yeah.
So you've got to create something that means you can have a semi-linear plot for people to follow while still having room for people to go on their own adventures and to make it their own as they go through it. So the analogy that I kind of use is it's kind of like your start point and your end destination on the map, but the journey that people are going to take to get there will be very different. Some people are going to, go down a stream. Some people are going to try to climb to the top of a mountain halfway through that. Some people might get lost in the bushes and then eventually find their way to the end. So yeah, that's probably the main consideration, but probably the most challenging but rewarding aspect to writing this was the actual coding involved. So as you make decisions throughout the game, it influences your character's statistics. So if you click on the show stats button in the top left corner of your screen, you will see some traits about your character.
Oh
So
no, our health is only 80%.
I was gonna
that's
say
right.
we must have
It
bumped into
starts as
some of those
80%,
mirrors.
so you haven't done anything wrong so far. But
Okay.
basically how this page works, I'll just explain it for the benefit of the audio listeners, is it has like a whole bunch of variables on it, things like your character's strength, your character's agility, your character's magic, and then also has things that represent your leadership style. So are you an idealistic type of leader, or are you a pragmatic leader? Are you a charming character, or are you a very intimidating character? So far, we're leaning slightly towards the charming. Are you humble? Are you proud? And then it also shows you what your reputation and your standing is with various other members of Treboulain society. So, what's your respect like amongst the army? Do the arbiturges support you? We'll get into who those are later. Do the merchants approve of what you're doing? And is there generally good morale throughout the city? So, essentially, as you make choices throughout the game, it influences all of these statistics here. And then, depending on what these statistics are, that affects whether you can achieve certain things in the future. So, if you have a really low amount of respect from the army and you try to get a bunch of soldiers to charge at the enemy, you might not succeed
Yeah.
unless you're really good at intimidating them into obeying your orders, even though they don't like you. So, trying to kind of grapple with how all of these different variables and the coding aspects of it can plug into an interesting story was, yeah, was a really good challenge. And it was nice because it kind of gives your brain like both sides of like your mental. I don't even know how to describe this. Like usually when you're writing a story, it's so creative, it's so right brained. But this was good because you have that creativity, that right brainedness, but then you also have to like think about math sometimes and do
Analyze the
yeah,
situation.
analyze it, be analytical. Even like some points where I'd have, like a spreadsheet up and I'd be calculating like, okay, where is everyone's stats ending up at this point? I want this decision to be this level of difficulty. Okay, so this is what I need to adjust to get to there. So yeah, as you go through it as a player, like you won't even really notice all the coding, which is the whole point, but
Yeah.
it's that coding which hopefully creates a satisfying blend of like challenge, but also triumph when you manage to accomplish these difficult things throughout the game.
And then on top of that, immersion from like a participant perspective where they feel like their choices have agency. And honestly, it reminds me a lot of I don't know if any of you have played Mass Effect, like the Renegade Paragon system in that series, where there's all these background calculations that are going into every single choice that you make. And then that accumulates towards, I mean, this is why the end of the third game was so disappointing for some people, because it felt like your choice kind of got boiled down to some pretty arbitrary decisions. But the journey there was full of this incredible variation and the ability to infuse your own personality into this role playing scenario. So I really like that, Jed.
Thanks, Adrian. Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to go for this. And I actually watched it. I haven't played Mass Effect. I have been meaning to because it
Do
seems
it.
awesome.
The
But
Legendary Edition is the perfect gateway into that series.
which edition is that? Sorry.
It's this new Legendary Edition that compiles all three games and sort of like updated graphics and tweaked
Sure.
gameplay and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Because I definitely heard of that system before, and that was one of the things I wanted to achieve with this. Is like, yeah, that like multiplied by, as you've seen from the statistics page, there's like 10 or 12 different things that can influence how you achieve your outcomes in a certain situation, which we'll see as we get later into this, I think.
Cool. Well, let's continue.
Cool. So we've just walked into the throne room and we resume there. You stride out of your study and into your throne room. Compared to the modest confines of your study, the throne room is a grand, glorious space. Shining marble columns carved like trees soar towards the high ceiling, which is adorned with vivid paintings. Vines wreath the columns, sprouting yellow sunflowers. Plants fill every inch of this room, filling the air with a perfumed scent. The nature of the scent changes every day, as directed by you. For today's meeting with the Envric ambassador, you've chosen option 1, a cloying lilac scent that the ambassador will find disgusting, even though I like it. This will remind her who's in charge. Number 2, a citrus scent that will remind the ambassador of her home in Envric. Hopefully, that will earn me some points with her. Or number 3, a lavender scent. Lavenders adorn Treboulin's flag, so the patriotic choice will clearly establish my priorities to the ambassador. What do you want to pick?
Well, we definitely don't want to gross her out.
My gut says citrus.
Yeah, same.
See, I was thinking citrus too, but if we cater too much to her, is she going to take advantage of us?
Or you
But I
could
feel
lose support of some people in the city, maybe?
So I feel like lavender is a more neutral scent because it's still patriotic, but we're not shoving
Yeah.
We're not shoving
That's
something
true.
she abhorrently hates down her throat.
True, but I feel like the citrus scent will establish a comfortable environment, and we will have opportunities to further, control the situation. You know
Also,
what I
we'll
mean?
get rid of cats.
Although it didn't work for your Christmas tree, Connor?
Yeah, no, it did not. It did not turn out the way I expected it to.
You didn't do it how I told you. I don't know what you did.
I did, and the cat did not take it. No, it's like I went out and got actual oranges and like squeezed them into a spray bottle, and it still didn't work. She was not at all like.
Your cat's
She
just
literally
weird, man.
She started lounging underneath the tree. It was wild.
It's like I'd like this actually more than it was before.
Yeah, literally.
My gut still says citrus. I don't know, Connor, Tori, what do you think?
I have too
If
many
you
traumatic
both think-
memories attached to citrus.
If you both think citrus, I think citrus is a safe bet.
I want to go with lavender.
Oh, Connor, you're just fucking shit up, man.
I'm sorry, Adrian.
Oh, Connor, this is off topic, but tinfoil helps with
cats?
keeping cats off stuff.
Okay, I thought you were asking me to start wearing like a tinfoil hat or something.
Okay,
No,
Tori,
I'm not going to ask you to wear a tinfoil hat, but just
use tinfoil for your
if
cat.
yeah, just like under your tree skirt, like the noise scares them.
Interesting. Tori,
anyway,
do you want to go with
citrus.
lavender or do you want to go with citrus?
I vote
'Cause
citrus.
Okay, Connor.
I want to go lavender.
Okay, well I'm on citrus, so we beat you.
Alright.
Next.
two out of 3. Sorry.
Golden light shines through stained glass windows depicting Treboulin's creation. The light falls upon a raised dais, and in the center of that dais sits the throne of thorns. The rest of the throne room is a beautiful, seamless blend of natural delights and human artistry. Many a stony heart has softened at entering the room. Many a poet has waxed lyrical about the glorious, stirring power of this space. That beauty ends at the throne. Cruel thorns twist and curve to form an ugly, dark chair, which seems to absorb all the light that it touches. If the throne had a voice, it would surely be screaming. To rule is to sacrifice, King Merihorn the Wise once said. The thorns upon my throne remind me of this each day. Next scene.
That is
Grim.
that's heavy.
I named a throne that in something I wrote in 2017.
Uh-oh.
It wasn't good. Don't worry. It's never seeing the light of day. So you've got nothing to worry about.
It's unpublished.
That's relief.
All right, continue, Jed.
There is a part of the throne where the thorns flatten to allow one to sit without being ripped to shreds. Still, as you lower yourself onto the throne, a thorn pricks your arm. This is the price of the throne of thorns. No matter how careful you are or how thick your clothes, it extracts blood from your body each and every time you sit upon it. The Envric ambassador, who has been waiting at the back of the room, strides towards you. She bows. Hazel Benici is a sharp-faced woman with a steely glint to her eyes and a sheaf of documents clutched under her hand. She wears a jacket emblazoned with the silver sun of Envric. Your Majesty, she says, before we begin, may I extend the deepest condolences to you and your city regarding Queen Teresa's untimely passing. It is a horrible thing to lose a parent. Queen Teresa was Treboulin's former ruler and your mother. She died just over a month ago, leaving you as her sole heir to sit upon the throne of thorns. So your choices here are option 1, thank you, it has been difficult, but we loved each other very much and I will always treasure that. Option 2, you are here to discuss our trade agreement. Or option 3, save your sympathies. My mother and I never got along. What choice do you pick?
That is okay.
Do we have mommy issues or?
I was gonna say.
I
I feel like it's more interesting to pick that one.
It's interesting, but what are we sacrificing?
I feel like option number 2, you're here to discuss our trade agreement, is like,
it's too dismissive, I think.
Rebuffs.
Yeah, but then save your sympathies. My mother and I never got along. She's like, that's a bit dickish. But then again, like, I understand if her mom and her never got along. But did they love each other? I don't know.
It's your decision.
I kind of want to go with 3. I've already talked about how I think like making a really shitty choice is going to be fun.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Connor.
Connor, there's no wrong choices apart from the choices that lead to your character dying.
Oh, there are those choices? Right. Fantastic.
That's a good way of putting it.
As long as you don't die and then the quest continues, yeah. That doesn't sound like...
I go for save your sympathies.
Yeah. Really? That surprises me.
I kind of want to stir the pot, you know what I mean? I feel like Connor's in the same boat.
Yeah, literally.
Just a couple of shit disturbers.
I guess it's 3 then, because 2 out of
no choice. Tori, I'm curious. What did you want to choose? Did you want to go with thank you?
Yeah, I don't particularly like that as an option, but it's more gracious than the other 2, and I think that that's kind of what I would be going for if this was me playing the game.
But we do have a room full of mirrors and strangely patterned.
I told y'all we should have done vines because you walked into this whole motherfucking throne room and there were just plants everywhere.
Whatever, man. All right, save your sympathy story.
All right, mommy issues it is. Let's go.
All right.
Benici's face remains impassive. That's not surprising. Your relationship with your mother was hardly private knowledge. Envric and Treboulain have been cordial trading partners for many years, as I'm sure you're well aware, says Benici. However, one of our contracts is due to expire. I am referring to the Asmund-Boker Pact, of course. Do you know what the Asmund-Boker Pact is? Option 1, of course, I researched heavily to prepare for this meeting. Option 2, I was too busy practicing my sword fighting abilities to prepare for this. I'll get Dayan to tell me. Option 3, no, I was too busy running through the obstacle course in the Citadel's training room. I'll get Dayan to tell me. Or number 4, I know it's important, but I'll pretend to not know to make it look like the pact is a minor concern.
Connor is too chaotic for all these options, Jed.
Oh, there's so many ways.
Chaos.
Well, obviously, I think we have researched this, but you guys decide.
No, I want to go with the sword one. Like, I mean, if there's ever an option that concerns swords, I'm probably going to go with that one. But like, at the same time, if we pick the one with the puzzle boxes, that feels out of character, you know?
Yeah. I feel like our character is more like cerebral, and so she would heavily research for this.
Right.
Yeah. But I understand where you're coming from, Connor. You wrote a book about a sword in the street, so
yeah.
Who literally fights everyone.
Yeah, literally.
I go for research as well, Tori.
Yes.
All right.
10 points to Gryffindor. Thank you.
The pact is an exchange contract between Treboulain and Envric. Treboulain provides salt gathered from the Morian Sea. In return, Envric supplies Treboulain with Enderman spice, which is used to add flavour to Treboulain's mostly fish-based diet. The pact is worth tens of thousands of lanes to your city each year. The ambassador hands you an envelope bearing the silver sun of Envric pressed into the wax seal. On behalf of the noble triumvirate of Envric, I'm here to inform you that we seek a renegotiation of the Asmund-Boker Pact. Our new conditions are contained within. Open the envelope.
Ooh, she gonna get spicy up in here.
Salty, Tori. Salty.
You scan the letter. There's a lot of flowery language, but the meaning is clear. They want to renegotiate so that Treboulain receives only a third of what your city normally gains from the pact. Lord Dayan reads the letter over your shoulder. His startled gasp sends hot breath washing over your neck. He wasn't expecting this bad of a deal either. At least the ambassador has the grace to look apologetic. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. The triumvirate lacks confidence in your ability to rule, owing to your age and lack of political experience. As such, this is the best deal we can offer. Option 1. How dare she question my ability? Option 2. This is a shock, but I can empathize with Emvric's position. Or number 3. I feel calm. Distrust of my skill is to be expected, considering my youth.
Damn.
Oh god, I want to go with option 1.
Just getting salty up in here. How dare she question my ability? Ugh.
I mean, if I feel like that seems like the most appropriate reaction for the kind of sort of character that we're building.
Mm.
Is
If
it
they-
though?
if you-
Because
If you prepared a lot for this whole thing, and you're the kind of person who's going to have like a hall of mirrors and riddle boxes everywhere.
She does have the ability, but people don't see it just yet.
But I feel like if you have enough patience to sit and do puzzle box after puzzle box, you're not going
That's
to
true.
explode at
Yeah.
the drop of a hat.
That's a good point. Damn it.
I mean, personally, like number 2 is not on the table. I don't think she'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is a shock. Whoa, is me." But calm. I feel calm feels like, distrust of my skills to be expected, considering my youth, and add on to that. But let me show this bitch what I'm really about. Is kind of like
Right.
my.
So
I like
that's
that.
kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm with option
Yeah, no,
3.
I
All
vote
right.
3.
Cool. All right. I feel calm. Let's go.
If you sign this new contract, thousands of lanes will be lost. More than that, it will signal weakness to Treboulin's other trading partners. This is the first major trading agreement you've dealt with in your short reign. You need to make a strong start. You can't accept, whispers Dane. You have to fight this. Benici watches you carefully. Do you have anything to say, Your Majesty? 1. Threaten Envric with sanctions unless they give me a better contract. 2. Try to charm the ambassador into changing her mind. Or 3. Humbly acknowledge that I am experienced but still ask for a better rate.
Hmm.
I feel like 2 or 3 probably.
So if we acknowledge that we're inexperienced, is that going to give us leverage for getting a better rate? Or is our acknowledgement that we're inexperienced
Gonna show
going to
weakness.
say, yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be submissive,
But how charmable is the ambassador?
right?
I mean, I feel like
I feel like
a threat would just
This is
not
like-
result. This is like
The threat's not going to do anything.
Yeah, this is like the West threatening Russia with sanctions. Like that shit don't work, man. Current events. Oh man, this is a tough one. It's like, is
it
she
does say you
charmable?
have
Is
to
she
fight
charmable?
this.
Mm.
So I feel
Honestly,
like if
how
you have to
how
fight it,
charming
you
are
can't
we?
go number 3.
Yeah, that's another thing. How charming are we? Not at all.
You'll find out.
Oh.
Check our stats.
All right, let's see. Let's check our stats. We are quite charming.
Ooh.
Okay.
Intimidation would not work. We are not an intimidating trio.
Not an intimidating person.
I feel like we could
So-
charm. I feel like we could charm her.
Let's
I feel
do
like
it. I like that.
that's going to be our best option.
Can we?
think.
Can we bed the ambassador? Is that a possibility?
You'll find out.
An interactive erotica.
Yeah, exactly. Jed's getting into romance, man. Okay, you guys good on charm?
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
Connor, let's do this.
You flash her a dazzling smile. Hazel, I think we've gotten off on the wrong foot. That's a shame because I respect you. We both care about the same thing, doing what's best for our people. Treboulain and Emvric are inextricably linked, woven together by centuries of trade. When one of us does well, so does the other. So why don't we put aside our differences and strike a new deal? Benici shakes her head. I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but that's not enough for me to go on. If you don't like this contract, you're welcome to cancel it entirely, but I think that would be even worse for your people. You need to do better than that, Your Majesty, whispers Dane. This is your last chance to change her mind. She thinks Treboulain is vulnerable. She thinks you're weak. You have to change the ambassador's mind, and there's only one way to do that. You must show her what makes you a worthy leader. Option 1, your persuasive speaking skills. 2, my faithful dedication to worshipping the cultivator. 3, my cunning and trickery. 4, my magical abilities. Or 5, my wisdom gained from years of studies. So what trait is your best trait?
Cultivator can just like go off the table. We don't care about him. At least not an economically viable ruler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. Because it's like
I was going to say cunning and trickery.
we threw away
that
magic.
seems like
but that's not something you show someone. Be like, let me show you how cunning and tricksy I am.
That's true. That's
And
a
then
good
they're like,
point.
wow, cool. I'm totally on board with you.
You're gonna betray me.
Yeah. Who's gonna stab me in the back? You.
So I think it comes down to what kind of leader we want to be. Do we want to be a leader who is, charismatic and charming, or do we want to be a pragmatic leader? Do we want to?
It doesn't seem like she's going to respect charming.
No, I feel like my wisdom gained from years of studies to be like, I've been watching my mom, even though I hate her, like mommy issues aside.
Right.
Yeah.
So based on this, it's not going to be easy to charm her.
No, she's already been uncharmed once. So
I really think we should go with wisdom.
Yeah, like pragmatic.
Can we go with magic?
No, but we don't have the
Is that
magic
possible?
vines, man. What kind of magical abilities do we even have?
Oh, dude.
Whatever, Tori. I like my mirror room.
Listen, the magic in this world is 100% vine-based.
Vine-based.
Listen, there is a
magic
vine
system.
hanging right here over my desk. I want vines.
Is it magical?
Oh man, if
Tori?
there's magic vines, does that mean like wine is like a magic potion or something?
Oh, damn.
Damn, I wish I'd
Wine
taken that
from-
idea.
Man, Connor. Wine from vines. It's like wine from magic vines, man. That's like the...
So instead of being wine drunk, I'm magic potion drunk.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great.
Infinitely more responsible.
I need to go write a book
About magic vines and wine.
about magic booze.
Magic booze.
Magic
That sounds
booze.
good. I go for wisdom.
Yeah,
personally.
wisdom.
Connor?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Cunning and trickery. No. All right. We're going
Here's
for...
my Rubik's Cube.
All right, so we chose wisdom. Are you familiar with Iserbrand's theorem, you ask? Benici frowns. No, I am not. Iserbrand was a diplomatic theorist who lived in Treboulain several decades ago. She wrote an essay analysing 2 centuries of trade contracts between Treboulain and other partners. Her results were surprising. Initially, she expected contracts with better splits towards Treboulain, say 70-30, to be more beneficial than 50-50 splits. But she was wrong. Perhaps in the short term, the more advantageous contracts did bring more money into Treboulain, but the partner with a smaller takeaway tended to grow resentful, which meant they produced lower quality products. For more equal contracts, however, both parties felt like they were getting what they deserved, and so they both worked harder and maintained the agreement for longer. You leaned forward. I hope you will see the wisdom of this study with regards to our current dilemma. Silence stretches out for a long moment. Then, Benici bows. I have reconsidered, Your Majesty. We are willing to renew the contract at our original rate. Your little speech worked. Hopefully, you can live up to your promises. Lord Dane beams. He goes to clap his hands together but remembers royal decorum at the last second and awkwardly scratches his head instead. If I may speak with full honesty, Your Highness, says Benici, I came here with low expectations. You are so young, with such little political experience, and I was expecting a leader who would struggle to negotiate. But I must say, perhaps Treboulain is in better hands than I thought. You are a city of magic, after all. I should have expected a surprise, and now I must take my leave. I've heard rumblings of war in Skeglin, and I do believe the noble triumvirate may wish to reassign me to investigate the happenings up there. Benici courtesies to you and Lord Dan, then strides for the exit. Enjoy the festival, Your Majesty.
I would have liked if Benici cursed.
Yeah,
I was
he
gonna
just
say,
wears
Fuck
it
your
as
fuck your
Freudian
festival,
slip.
your majesty.
Fuck your festival. Fuck
your
you.
festival.
And Pokemon.
Fuck your contract, 50-50.
So if you would like to see, so you've just unlocked an achievement, which is Diplomat. Strike a favorable trade deal with the ambassador. Congratulations.
Hell yeah, we did.
Oh yeah.
You may want to have a look at your stats and see how that first initial scene has altered things.
Cool. Well, while we're looking at that, Jed, I'm really curious if you could elaborate a little bit more on how you handle things like world building, since it is, with this player agency, world building is something that is manipulatable. I think that's the word.
That's a word.
Yeah, it's prone to manipulation or something along those lines. But how did you handle it in terms of having a consistent world building, but also allowing for that variability?
Sure. Well, I think in some regards, the idea is to not have consistent world building because the player's choices should affect the world around them. And as you go through the game, you'll see that depending on what type of ruler you are and what kind of decisions you make, the city of Treboulain becomes a vastly different place. So if you're not very good at, maintaining order in the city and uh, not being a tyrant, basically, then the people will start to get really angsty towards you, and there might be, like protests in the street, and you might have people who are trying to usurp you from your throne. So, to some extent, like what is so liberating about writing in this format is the world building should be a pure reflection of you as the player and the choices you make. And by the time you reach the end of this game, you will see Treboulain end up in a vastly different place to where it starts, potentially, depending on what decisions you make. So that's one aspect of it. And then in terms of the other thing, I think a large part of the reason why I did want to write the story set in the city of Treboulain, and the story is in Treboulain for almost the entire time, with some notable exceptions. But the reason why I wanted to contain the story to the one city is so that you have the benefit of really being able to flesh out that area. Whereas if I was going to write a
Mhm.
story where it was more of a kind of classical quest from one side of a country to another side of a country, because your eagles are down, so you have to walk into Mordor instead, then it would be
Plot
more
holes.
difficult to really it would be more difficult to really flesh out the world around you because you're only ever going to see it once and then you'll move on from there. Whereas
Right.
the benefit of having written it in a city is you can explore all these different areas of the city, and you're not going to be able to get to every spot and uncover every mystery on the first time you play through the game. But if you do decide to go through from the start again, you'll be able to explore those other areas that you might have missed the first time around, or that you may, have heard clues about but never actually investigated them in the first place.
Right.
So, yeah, I think concentrating the setting to that one spot allowed me to really kind of flesh it out and go into detail. And then probably the other last factor I'll say with the world building was um, it was tricky at times to kind of foreshadow important events about the city or to set up certain mysteries. So
Right.
I had to make sure that regardless of what pathway the player goes through, they will receive most of the key information they need so that later on in the game when they're trying to decide if there's 3 potential things that they could dive into later in terms of world building, in terms of mysteries with the city, they are well informed enough about what those things are and then not just having to blindly go down. But in order to do that, you have to do things where you have these sort of node points in a game where there might be these like 5 different plot threads going up, but then you've got to make sure that they all are hitting this one foreshadowing moment. And yeah, we might see a few of those a bit later. So yeah, in terms of the stats page here, so we can see that our wisdom has now increased from the starting
Our
point of
guile.
40% up to 59%. So you guys are smart. Well done. Our leadership is skewing way closer towards the charming side and towards the humble side, which is interesting. And then I think that's most of the things that have been affected. Also, our guile is a little bit larger than what it starts as. So you might
There's your
find it
cunning,
slightly easy
Connor.
to trick people.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's get back into this.
Well, says Lord Dan, that's a most excellent start to the day. Bells toil in the city. The festival of the cultivator is about to begin. Lord Dan gestures to the door. Come, your majesty. Your subjects will be expecting you. Leave the throne room. You and Lord Dan stride through the Citadel's corridors. People are rushing about on frantic last-minute jobs for the festival. They bow to you as they pass. Option 1. I smile and greet each person. Option 2. I bow as deeply as they bow to me. I may be Treblin's ruler, but I want them to feel like my equal. Or option 3. I remain impassive. My station is too high to stop and acknowledge each person.
Hmm. I mean, I feel like I want to go bow. Like bow for bow. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about this high station stuff personally.
I mean, I don't either, but I feel like because we are a ruler, we have to not necessarily create a barrier, but there has to be some kind of decorum. So if we're bowing to everyone, that's going to take forever.
That's true.
You got places to be.
I got back problems now. Yeah.
You're just,
Right, you're gonna
you
be
just wind up doing
by the time
burpees.
you're 30.
Connor, what's your take?
I feel like the option 1 is the best one.
I agree.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like we are a very humble ruler, and I guess like a smile is not necessarily as like
it's not just a
equalizing as
smile. It's a smile and a greet.
And a greeting, right?
So you're still acknowledging their respect to you,
right?
Without like prostrating yourself before them.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
Because how are they going to respect you if you don't give them anything to respect?
That's true. That is very wise, Tori. All right, we'll go with smile and greet.
Where you can, you try to remember brief details about each person and their families, asking if their cousin has recovered from illness, congratulating them on recent births, thanking them for various projects. Everyone walks away from you with a spring in their step. You're quite the charmer, your majesty. Dan nods at you with approval. Word of this will spread, and I think it will do wonders for your reputation. As you round a corner, Lord Dan's purple cape snags on a sculpture. Gah! He tries to unentangle himself. It's surprising that he didn't get himself tangled sooner. Dan's dressed rather conservatively today, considering his usual eccentric standards. However, the long cape, tinted monocle, and frayed scarves tied around his wrists presents an endless array of tripping opportunities. Still, what else can you expect when it comes to Dan? He's never let you down when it comes to balancing the royal accounts or keeping your schedule organized. But after his work is over, you'll also find him counting bricks and walls, wrestling strangle vines in the Lucine gardens, and juggling knives in the Citadel's courtyard. People often suggest he'd be more suited as a court jester, rather than serving as your chief assistant. Aha! Dan rips his cape out from behind the sculpture. Apologies, your majesty. There's no need to blame the sculpture. Anyone in their right mind would try to steal my marvelous cape. On the topic of clothing, you have carefully chosen your festival outfit for today. Ever since you became Treblin's ruler a month ago, you've been buried in paperwork. You've scarcely left the Citadel. For most of Treblin's citizens, today will be the first time they see you, so a good first impression is critical. You are wearing 1. A military jacket with a sword to show my martial capabilities. 2. An exquisite dress made from shimmering mauve silk. 3. A liturgical gown gifted to me by the Arbiturgic Order. Or 4. An expensive tailored suit made from gold and purple brocade.
First of all, Dan sounds awesome.
Right.
I think I just saw hearts in Connor's eyes.
Honestly, I'm trying to do
military jacket
the last one because the
with
last
the sword.
Literally, that was.
I'm down for the tailored suit. The tailored suit sounds dope. I love.
They're both. I like both of them because that last one sounds very pretty.
Yeah, I don't care about mauve silk. I don't want to be like, I'm walking through town. I'm probably gonna get a little dirty, you know?
Yeah, silk is hard to clean.
Yeah, I feel like the suit people would look at the suit and be like, "Damn," you know?
But then you look like Hillary Clinton.
Does she wear
that's
purple brocade?
I don't think she wears gold and purple brocade though. Hillary's not that cool. She's not cool at all, but she's not that cool. Oh, and I think now a better reference would be Kamala Harris, in which case nobody wants to look like her. So I don't know.
Hey, I like Kamala Harris.
She's a clown.
Oh no.
That's fair.
She talks like a fucking fourth grader giving a book presentation.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh shit. I mean, I like the suit.
If you guys want the suit, I'll go with the suit.
Because like the liturgical gown, I feel like we're like, we're kind of screwed on like the magic plant front right from the beginning. The arbiturgic order is like, we don't care about you, you don't even have magic vines in your room. So
Right.
Connor, you like the suit?
Yeah, let's go with that one.
If everybody likes the suit, we'll go with the suit.
All right, we got the gold and purple, baby.
So, Jed, is there ever like, is that where you? I'm butchering this question.
That's okay.
Is this character non-binary or not? Just not gender specific.
So you get to actually set the character's preferences in that regard a little bit later in the game. So yeah,
Okay,
you'll be
cool.
able to choose.
Very cool.
Because one of the things that that Choice of Games really strong on is just trying to make sure that games are accessible for everyone, which I really respect. So yeah, that's one of the things that definitely appealed to me about working with them is they're just like, yeah, you can, obviously we have no idea who's going to play this game, so we want to make sure it's an inclusive and great experience, no matter who you are. Which I think it's good.
So is there a sexuality preference aspect to it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's probably about 10 minutes away from this scene, actually.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is there going to be an option to romance Dayan?
You'll find out. No spoilers. No spoilers.
All right.
I want to juggle.
Why is
knives
Dayan
with
appealing
him.
to you at the moment?
What, Adrian?
I want to juggle knives with Dane.
Honestly.
So Dayan said that your suit will impress Treboulin's merchants. That might be difficult though. Some merchants are almost as wealthy as you, and you're the ruler of Treboulin. Considering that the city's merchants keep getting richer, they could overtake you within the decade. You walk down a curving marble staircase. Towering windows offer a beautiful view of the sea. Sunlight glints off the water, and a warm, salty breeze blows through the open window, tussling your hair. Treboulin is built on a peninsula, surrounded by water on 3 sides. The citadel is at the tip of this peninsula, sitting atop rocky cliffs that are complemented by equally high walls. Outside the city, on the 4th side, the land flattens out into a broad field of lush grass, before stretching away in a patchwork tapestry of farms and forests. As you walk, you and Dayan discuss 1. The festival, 2. The state of Treboulin, or 3. Dayan's life before he became to serve my mother, the queen.
3 for sure.
Yeah, I want to get to know Dane a little bit more.
We got a lot of Dayan
Yeah.
fans here. I like this.
We got to talk about our feelings.
Because I feel like it's like,
Oh.
yeah, like the festival happens every 9 years, but I feel like there's already been enough talk of the festival. We just got out of that whole thing with the ambassador, so I want to get to know Dane. It's like, tell me more about your,
Yeah.
your swords and your capes and stuff.
Bone.
Yeah. They think you should be the court jester. I think you should be my lover. All right.
All right, next scene. Oh, I doubt you would find it interesting, Your Highness. Dayan's eyes twinkle, although several books could be filled on the subject if needed. Alas, I shall keep it short by saying that I have travelled to almost every place on Iapis that you know, along with many other locales that you have likely never heard of. As you descend down the stairs, the air grows colder, damper. The windows and the pleasant views vanish, replaced by walls of heavy stone. Ancient stone. By the time you reach the end of the stairs and step onto the floor, you're well beneath the ground. He gestures down a shadowy corridor, lit by dim green-blue patches of glowshrooms that sprout from the mortar joints in the wall. Together, you pace along the hall until you reach a doorway that leads into shadowy darkness. 2 soldiers stand beside the door. Even though you cannot see into the room beyond, you know that it is empty. On the day of the festival, only Treboulin's ruler may step inside the crypt. Dayan presses his lips together. I know this might be unpleasant, Your Majesty, but it must be done. I will wait here until you return. You nod. Then you turn and stride through the shadow-cloaked doorway into the crypt.
I thought we were about to get murdered.
I was literally like, I'm glad you stayed there. Like, I thought one of us was going to end up chained to the wall or something.
Assassination.
Well, game over.
Your eyes adjust to the dimness as you step inside. Your footsteps echo, soft and feeble. Deep within the Citadel's bowels, this is a dark and cold place with tiny glowshroom patches doing little to dispel the gloom. Thick columns support the vaulted ceiling. Unlike the columns up above, these are made from rough stone, ancient stone. Your footsteps echo. They're almost painfully loud within this oppressive silence. Not a single noise from the outside world can enter this room, buried deep within the ground. Rectangular patches of dirt fill the room in neat rows. Tombstones sit atop each patch, and small curls of plant life sprout from the soil. Carvings on the tombstones show likenesses of the people buried beneath. For this crypt is the resting place of Treboulin's rulers, the resting place of your ancestors, and all those who came before. Hundreds of years of kings and queens, some wise, some foolish, some humble and some arrogant, some brave and some weak, some who made this city better, and some who made it worse. One day, you too will come to rest here. What will your legacy be? You come to a halt. Without realizing it, you stop beside your mother's grave. Engraved on her tombstone is your family's name. In the dim light, the words seem to shine with a vivid brightness. What is your surname? Option 1, Consus. Option 2, Hawthorne. 3, Clementine. Ainsley, Yarrow, Sylvan, Oakley, or I'd like to choose something else. So what surname do you want to pick?
I'm just going to throw this out here. Yarrow is by far the coolest.
Yeah, Yarrow is...
That's what I was thinking, honestly.
Okay, we're going with Yarrow. Unanimous.
Nice. That was a quicker decision. Yeah, I like that.
All right.
Are you sure that your surname is Yarrow? This is just in case people press something by mistake.
Okay.
Beneath your mother's name is your family's motto. Engraved into stone, these words will last 1,000 years, and you're in no danger of forgetting them either. Hearing those words was one of your earliest memories. What is your family's motto? In the cultivator we trust, justice and truth, nothing good without boldness, virtue leads the way, wisdom is our worth, strength and valor, or to serve and not be served.
Ooh.
I really like the way wisdom is our worth.
Yeah.
Falls off the tongue.
That's some nice alliteration. Although I do like the message of to serve and not be served.
I like nothing good without boldness, but also wisdom is our worth is I'm partial to that one as well.
Yeah.
Should we pick a number between 1 and 10?
I mean, I like wisdom is our worth as well.
Okay.
I feel like we're unanimous on that one as well. I just like the significance of to serve and not be served.
Yeah, I do too.
As like I am a ruler and I am a public servant at the same time. But wisdom is our worth. I like that one too. Also, Connor, of course, you'd like nothing good without boldness.
What are you trying to say?
Just take out my fucking sword and just light it up, you know?
Nothing good without baldness, am I right?
Oh,
stop.
Dude.
No.
Dude. That was cold, Tori.
Listen, it's my choice. I can make bald jokes.
That's true. That's true. All right. Wisdom it is?
Wisdom it is.
Yeah.
All
Wisdom is our worth.
I'm just kidding, Connor. I love you.
I love you. You're great.
Wisdom is our worth. You've always thought that motto was 1, an inspiring guide for my actions. 2, not meaningful. I don't hate it, but it doesn't move me either. Or 3, nothing but vile, old, empty words. I will forge a new path without the weight of my ancestors' legacy.
Oh, that last one is just venomous.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it has to be inspiring. Otherwise, what did we just talk about it for?
Yeah, exactly. No, we built up this character. None of the other ones fit. I do love vile, old, empty words.
That is like Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, like I hate my mom.
The
it's
angsty
not
teenager
a phase,
roots.
Mom.
Yeah. Okay. Inspiring guide. Wisdom is our
Yeah.
worth. All right.
So next scene. Those words were passed down to you by your mother, and by her father before you, and his father before him, and on, stretching back through the misty passages of time. Through those words, you are linked to all who came before you. You glance around the crypt. It is traditional for Treblin's ruler to spend some time reflecting in the crypt before the festival of the cultivator begins. Option 1. I'll reflect beside Treblin's first ruler, Queen Jovian Tiberion, well known for her cunning. Option 2. I'll reflect beside my oldest ancestor, King Renato Yarrow, well known for his athletic grace. Number 3. I'll reflect beside King Merihorn, often regarded as Treblin's wisest and most influential ruler.
Oh man, what happened to the surname Tiberion?
That's pretty cool. Jovian Tiberion. I
Right?
mean, it's got to be King Merihorn, right?
Yeah, we quoted him
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah. All right. King Merihorn?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do this.
You kneel before King Merihorn's grave. There are 3 different royal crests inscribed into his tombstone, a mark of the 3 warring countries with whom he negotiated peace. King Merihorn the Wise, they called him. When Treboulin stood between 3 hostile kingdoms, all intent on destroying each other, it seemed the city and the surrounding lands would become the site of bloody battle. Yet Merihorn quelled the rage of each country in turn. No one knows exactly how, although many playwrights have penned impassioned speeches that claim to capture his words. Still, whatever he said, it worked. A soft bell rings in the hallway outside, rousing you from your reverie. It's time to leave. You stride towards the center of the crypt. A small, circular patch of soil rests here, with a single flower standing on the edge of a delicate stem. This is the cultivator's spirit, and it only blossoms once every 9 years. With delicate hands, you remove the flower. It feels so light in your hands, light and fragile. You tuck the flower into the ceremonial box, then look around once more to the tombs of your ancestors. Option 1. I will make you proud. Option 2. I will honor your legacy. Option 3. I will forge my own path. Option 4. When I rest amongst you, all will say that I was the greatest ruler Trebulin ever saw. Or option 5. There's no point talking, they can't hear me.
I'm kind of leaning toward the last one.
Yeah, because I mean, we're not really like
We're not super
religious.
emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, or religious. It's like
Yeah.
pragmatic. It's like
If wisdom is our thing, then we know that saying something isn't really going to help anything. And
Yeah.
be wise and shut up.
I
'Cause
mean, they did.
4 is way too cocky.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like 4.
Honor your legacy. It's like, I understand.
I get that one. The reason I'm leaning away from I will make you proud is because that feels
Sentimental.
too sentimental. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're
Yeah.
not a sentimental person, as far as our ancestors go.
Yeah.
I mean, I like number 5 as well. It's like, let's
Yeah.
just not even bother. They can't hear me. What do you guys
But-
think?
I agree,
Yeah.
but like also I feel like there's just a peace in enjoying the silence. Like maybe
like
I'm reading
that,
too much
yeah.
into it, but
That's the whole point.
there's almost like an acceptance when you stand in the presence
Right.
of people who came before you, and you know what they did, and you know what their legacy is, and you feel that weight. And I feel like saying something breaks that.
That's true.
I feel
Yeah.
like if you were to say
I like
something
that.
in that moment, the emotion would just be gone.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that too. Yeah, we're not talking, but for Tori's reason.
Yeah. For the smart thing.
Sorry.
No, it's perfect.
I like it. It's a cool interpretation. You stride out of the crypt to where Dan waits. Together, you retrace your steps back up the stairs, with the cultivator's spirit held in the box before you. Next scene. You arrive at the entrance to the ballroom. A balcony leads out from the ballroom, and from this balcony you will address your subjects to commence the festival. Dan opens the door. You step through. Inside the ballroom, fine paintings hang on wood-panelled walls, depicting lush agrarian scenes of farms and forests. Potted plants soften the citadel's hard edges, and the pleasant scent of lavender helps you relax, but only a little. Glass doors lead out onto a balcony. Once you step out there, you'll be visible to a crowd of citizens gathered before the citadel. You can hear them now, tens of thousands of disparate voices, all forming a low-pitched buzzing. At your inauguration a month ago, you addressed many citizens, but that speech was short and cloaked in ceremonial scripting. This speech is far longer and will be delivered to a bigger crowd. An excited-looking aide approaches. I'm supposed to introduce you to the people, Your Highness. How should I address you? Your choices are monarch, king, queen, sovereign, or I'd like to pick something else.
Empress. No. I like sovereign. Sovereign is better.
I like monarch.
Tori, what's
And
your...
here I was thinking we were a queen, but seriously, whatever you guys think.
I'm just thinking of John Scalzi's The Interdependency series, and I like Emperox.
Emperox is a
Emperox?
sick name.
Emperox, yeah.
Oh, I'm digging that.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's good.
So if we pick something else, can we write it down in the next
Absolutely.
section? You guys want to go with Emperox?
Emperox is
Yes.
dope, dude.
Fuck yeah. Okay. We're
Hell
going
yeah.
with Emperox.
Hell yeah.
All right. Hell yeah. What is your first name?
What is your first name,
Ooh.
Emperox? So
Daisy.
options there: Collius, Daisy, Elowin, Florian, Asta, Bryn, Ivy, or I'd like to choose something else.
Ooh.
I like Ivy.
Connor, what do you like? We can also choose something else.
I mean, does anyone have other ideas?
What about like Emperox Connor?
I was gonna say. I was just thinking about naming it after you.
Wait. Oh shit.
Yep. So
No.
if you press
I'd like to-
no
I'd like
and
to
then
choose
press next,
something
it'll
else.
let you change that back.
Yeah, we are Emperox Connor.
My editor was literally like, "Guy, Jed, you don't need to worry about having the. Are you sure you want your first name to be this? People won't accidentally click things." But
I just did.
clearly, I've been proven right here, so very happy.
All right, Emperox Connor. Are we female, male, or neither?
Let's be non-binary.
Yeah.
Let's do that one.
All right.
We're rocking
They,
the they
them.
them.
Hell yeah.
And when it comes to romance, oh baby, I'm attracted to all, or do you want to be asexual?
Everyone.
Pansexual.
Everyone.
We want to fuck everybody.
I want to fuck Dane.
I want to keep the options open, you know?
When you step out onto the balcony, your subjects will immediately form an impression of you based on your most distinctive feature. Option 1. My imposing height. While it makes me a little ungainly, it gives me an air of confidence and conviction. Number 2. My stooped posture, courtesy of long hours spent in libraries. 3. My athletic, well-toned figure. My aunt once said that I looked more suited for running races than ruling cities. Number 4. The rose in my breast pocket, enchanted with magic to open and close its petals in tune with my breathing. Or number 5, my powerful frame. My uncle once said that I looked more suited for pushing plows than ruling cities.
I like the rose.
Me too. That sounds so cool.
Right?
Although would Emperox Connor just be stooped from the library?
Hunchback or something.
Oh,
The
sexy
Hunchback
hunchback.
Treboulain.
Oh, beautiful. That could be a novella, side story.
That sounds pretty cool.
I really love the sound of this like magic rose. That is super
It's really cool.
Tori, what's your take?
You guys pick.
Oh,
Call it the rose.
yeah, I'm down for the rose. That sounds super cool. I feel like anybody, regardless of their gender, would be like slightly like enticed by that.
Right.
You know, the magical rose is like our lure, like a Venus flytrap of sexiness.
That's perfect.
I love this. This is great.
It just kind of
It
makes
feeds
my
up your
skin
energy
crawl.
to sustain itself, which explains your ravenous appetite. In addition to the animation effect, you've added a magical enhancement that extends the rose's lifespan. This one has lasted for 8 months. Your subjects await you, Emperox Connor, says Dayan. It's time for your speech. He nods to the aide who walks outside. She blows a trumpet to silence the crowd. All rise for Emperox Connor, she says. You take a deep breath. Hoping that you don't ruin your first impression, you step out onto the balcony.
I can't
Alright.
hear the name without laughing.
Should we and Brooks Connor. Should we
Brooks
leave
Connor.
it there, or is there a little bit more before chapter 2?
I reckon we do the speech and then maybe end it at that point.
Perfect.
After that would be a good
perfect.
spot to wrap it up.
Out onto the balcony.
As you emerge onto the balcony, a spectacular view of Treboulain unfolds before you. Clay-tiled roofs, lush gardens, and tree-lined streets roll away into the distance. Every inch of Treboulain is covered in vines, flowers, and other plants, even the poorer districts like the Gristle. Before the citadel, the Pearl Boulevard stretches in an unbroken line to connect with the city gate several miles away. Thousands of citizens crowd the boulevard up towards the citadel's end. Thousands of citizens, all looking at you. You swallow. Your throat is far too dry. If only there was a glass of water at hand. No matter, you've already made them wait long enough. How shall you start your speech? Option 1. Under the cultivator's blessing, it is my pleasure to open today's festival. Number 2. Treboulain, you're the best looking audience I've seen in a while. Or number 3. Open with a profound philosophical quote.
Damn,
I
what a
really
good
want to
looking
do
audience.
option 2.
Yeah. Yeah, option 2 feels like
Jerry Seinfeld.
yeah, I was gonna say like a stand-up comedian, like Treboulain,
Literally.
you're the best looking audience I've seen in a while.
Seinfeld is like my favorite TV show, so that's probably where I was thinking
Beautiful.
about.
So, okay, I have a theory.
Shoot.
We are not religious, but the
No.
people we serve are. Most likely.
Does that come into our
So-
guile? Mm.
If we. That's a good question. I hadn't thought of that.
I mean, it is like a religious festival. So
I feel like
Yeah,
we
I
should
don't
go
know.
with the religious one for this.
yeah. Because I mean, number 2 is like, yeah, we're like Emperor Seinfeld, and I think like,
Emperor Jerry. It just doesn't have the
What's the
same
deal
ring
with
to it.
Emperor Jerry.
What's the deal?
What's the deal with the cultivator? And I feel like a philosophical quote's just a shitty way to start a festival, you know?
Yeah, everybody's going to be like, yay.
No one wants to kick off a party with Aristotle.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know what parties you've been to.
What a quote.
I like the first one too. Yeah. Because it's like, regardless of whether we're religious or not, it is like it is a festival for the people. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Tori, you down for that?
Fully.
Okay.
It was my idea.
All right. Okay. All right.
I'm
You're
just
not a
playing,
very
I'm
humble
sorry.
leader.
Your humility stat has just tanked by 30%, there, Tori.
Tanked. 0.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
That was just a joke. I'm sorry.
That's good. It's good. Arguably, that's a great example of guile in leadership, right? Because you put the seed out there and then you let everyone else think it was their idea. So some big brain energy. The disciples of the Arbiturgic Order bow their heads in reverence. You've started strongly, but now you must continue the same high standard. Perhaps it's time to share a personal story to help the crowd relate to you. Option 1. When I was a child, I loved the festival. Option 2. I can't wait to taste our excellent street food. Or option 3. I'm particularly looking forward to the marching parade by our army.
No, Connor.
How'd you know?
Street food.
Yeah.
Mm.
Are we
I feel
really
like-
gonna? Are we really gonna down the festival that these people are so excited about to street food?
No, I think it's like number 1 for me. For
Yeah.
I feel
I know number
feel
3
like-
I know number 3 caters to the army. You know, that's
I do
definitely
think
gonna
number
boost our
2
army
is a
stat.
better example of like rhetoric, because it's a more specific thing. To like, it's a specific detail to a festival. It's more like evocative.
Mm. And I mean, the festival probably does boil down to like getting drunk and eating, you know?
Right.
Most do. Most festivals do.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I have a chicken festival in my hometown, so
Of course you do. You're in Kentucky Fried Chicken country, baby.
it's literally world famous.
Oh,
incredible.
man.
We've had people from like Australia, all
Jed,
over the
did you go to
country.
Kentucky for chicken?
I did not go to Kentucky for chicken. I'm sorry.
We literally have a giant skillet that we cook the chicken in.
That's
How big are we
incredible.
talking?
I'm
How
talking
big's the skillet?
big enough to take up a parking lot.
Holy.
Jeez.
That's
Excuse me?
insane. What?
That is a massive skillet.
I'm not
No, I don't
kidding.
know. You need to send photos. I don't believe this. This is madness.
I'm
Does Treboulain have like a parking lot sized skillet?
Treboulain doesn't have parking lots.
That
There's no
does sound like
cars.
excellent street food.
Like carriage lot? I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, I guess maybe for the horse-drawn carriages, there might be a
Yeah.
Is that why they
you
call
could
it street
put
food?
a skillet in.
Damn. Okay. I don't know. I feel like when I was a child, I loved the festival is more personal. I feel like excellent street food's not really like a way to follow up in a speech. You know? I don't know.
I
Or
feel
do we
like
want- Do we want the army on
the
our
street food
side?
thing is like a president eating hot dogs or something like that.
Yeah.
Like on
Or
a
Donald
campaign
Trump
trail.
like eating steak with ketchup. Yeah. Ah,
I think we should go with the fond memories of the festival. It makes us more relatable. It makes us
yeah.
it makes us seem
Because it's
more
personal.
empathetic
It's not
toward
like
people.
relating to exactly. Yeah. It's just like
It
I
makes us a
personally love the
person.
festival. Yeah.
It makes us a
All
person
right.
and not just
Tori.
a
Yeah, Tori, regardless, we got Connor beat on that one.
Also-
When I was a child.
Also,
that?
if you'll check the chat, I sent a link that I think the three of you should check out.
About chicken
You can do it
skillets?
later, but
It's literally chickenfestival.com.
Oh hell yeah.
There's a
All right, so we
picture of the
chose
skillet.
the decision to say that you love the festival as a child. Are you saying the festival is for children? Shouts a heckler. Uneasy murmurs run through the crowd.
Ooh, Dick.
Behind you, Dayan whispers, "Give me a signal and I can send the guards to take him away." How do you deal with the heckler? Option 1, signal Dayan to subtly remove him. Option 2, say, "Please hold your tongue, good sir. This is a sacred day for the cultivator. I won't have it defied by rabble rousers." Or option 3, did anyone else hear a legitimate complaint? Because I didn't.
I like number
Yo,
3.
I love number 3. That's like
I love the mic
We
drop.
gotta.
yeah,
got a
that's a
mic
mic drop. That's a mic drop, baby. Yeah.
The crowd laughs. Embarrassed by your retort, the heckler goes quiet. However, as you continue with your speech, other people in the crowd throw insults at you, hoping for a similar reaction. Luckily, your position allows you to project your voice more loudly than them, but it makes for a disruptive talk. To help the crowd know you better, you decide to tell them more about your upbringing. When your mother was queen and you were the heir in waiting, she sent you to the far south during your formative years, where you, option 1, apprenticed yourself to Ramanuk, one of the greatest independent arbiturgic magicians. Option 2, helped the Azane rebellion reclaim their rightful land from invaders. Or option 3, studied with renowned scholars in the Grand Relexian Library.
Hmm.
I'm torn between 1 and 3.
Me too.
What's the option that will get us to hate our mom?
Probably the
You can do that with any
library.
option you pick.
Any option. That's inside you, Connor. That hate is inside you. I think number 3. I don't know. We haven't really skewed magic too much, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't really embraced the mystic.
Nor have we done anything to do with swords, so.
Yeah. All right. Are we going to be like the hunchback Emperox of Treboulain? Yeah.
Looks
So
like
the-
it.
So you chose
Study
to
with the
study
renowned scholars?
with scholars?
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So that should go to next. Yep. I spent most of our youth in a library, you say, which I promise was less boring than it sounds. Laughter ripples through the crowd. That's because it wasn't just any library, you say. It was the Grand Library of Relexia. The laughter turns into an awed gasp. Everyone knows about the Grand Library, even people who have no interest in reading. I learned many things from my time there, you say. I read biographies of great leaders, essays on philosophy, theories of architecture, and studies of nations. These years of learning will help me serve you with wisdom and prudence. The Citadel's library is nice, but nothing quite compares to the sweeping vastness of the Grand Relexian Library, and that wonderful smell of century-old books. Still, while you may have left the library behind you, what you learned there will serve you forever, particularly when it came to your fellow scholar, Alton Markov. Ah, Markov. Now there's someone who shaped you. But there's no time for thinking about that skegman now. Instead, you bring your mind back to the present and continue speaking. It's probably time to wrap this up. But before you conclude your talk, you should thank the group who was most responsible for setting up the festival. There's 9 years between each festival, and they take almost as long to organize. So who do you want to thank? Option 1, the Arbiturgic Order. This is their biggest religious event, after all. Number 2, Treboulin's army. Their soldiers made the stalls and they will be running the main parade. Or option 3, Treboulin's merchants. After all, their money funded this festival. Who do you want to pick?
Is there all of the above?
I don't care about the stalls, man. I think it's it's tricky.
So I feel like, okay, so what's going to happen if we don't thank the Arbiturgic Order? Are we going to get cursed? Because if we don't thank the merchants, then there's a chance
whenever we get sieged, like they're gonna just leave us in the dust, man.
Well, if they're funding the festival, what else are they funding?
Exactly.
How much of their money is going into the kingdom?
Yeah.
So I feel like we should thank the merchants, even though that like it really bugs me. Like part of me's like fuck the man, and then the other's like, but I mean they're paying for it, so.
Connor, what do you think?
I feel like the merchants is the best bet, honestly.
Yeah. We have to be pragmatic here.
Did I just create capitalism?
Oh no!
Yes, you did.
God damn it. America
The merchants
runs
wave
deep
to the
in my
crowd.
Sorry.
The merchants wave to the crowd. With their resplendent suits, they are the most noticeable group in the crowd. Dimi Floros, the city's richest merchant, gives you an elaborate bow. You take the cultivator's spirit out from the ceremonial box. The crowd goes hushed. Illuminated by the early morning light, the flower's petals seem even more delicate than they were in the crypt. You raise the flower into the air, then you toss it into the street below. Petals flutter away on the wind as the flower floats down to the street. Dozens of citizens jump to catch it, but a strong gust whips through the air, sending the flower soaring over their heads to land in the outstretched arms of a small girl dressed in street urchin rags. Rather than complain, the failed catchers raise the child onto their shoulders. The crowd cheers. The urchin girl flashes you an impish grin. Even from this distance, her mismatched eyes are startlingly bright. One blue, one green. With the cultivator's spirit given to Treboulin's people, the festival can now begin. You wave to the crowd, then walk back into the ballroom. As soon as you are inside, you collapse into an armchair. That was an exhausting event. 2, smell a lavender plant to try and soothe my nerves. 3, ask for water. My throat is parched. Or 4, thank everyone for their hard work in organizing today's festival. And this is probably a good point to wrap it up at, actually.
Cool. I definitely think thank everyone.
Yeah, thank everyone for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm so sad we lost the flower.
No, but like the David Bowie girl got it. It's all good.
You may want to have a look at your stats just as we wrap this up so that you can see what the decisions so far have done in terms of influencing your personality.
Oh, we got some good wisdom, baby. But our guile dropped. Oh no, our guile stayed the same. Our piety went up a little bit. Rhetoric and arbiturgy as well. And we are definitely
very charming leaders so far. Very humble as well.
A little bit more pragmatic than idealistic. We are humble despite Tori's unhumble actions.
I'm sorry. I don't got some good approval. Do stuff like that.
It's all good. We got some good approval from the merchants. Ooh, look at that, Tori. Our finances are up to 70%. Look at that. Nice. But the infantry doesn't give a shit about us. So that's okay.
If you scroll down to the bottom, you can also see that decision you made in terms of your backstory is reflected on this page as well. So it says there, when you were young, you studied at the Grand Relaxian Library, learning the ways of scholarship.
Cool.
Very cool.
Nice.
And that decision will have some major repercussions throughout the game. So
Good or
We're
bad?
screwed.
You'll see. You'll see. Well, you'll have
God
to
damn
see.
it.
But yeah. So essentially, that's probably about maybe a third of the way through the first chapter. So I severely underestimated how long it would take to get through, but it is a fairly detailed thing. So just to give you like a really quick overview of what happens next without actually giving spoilers, your character is at this point where they'll be able to go out into the festival and they'll be able to decide who they want to spend some time with today. So they'll be able to either go to the army's parade ground and fight in a sword duel to try to impress the army. They have the option of also going to the grand markets to try to impress the merchants with their haggling skills, or they can go to the Arbiturgic Order's temple and witness some magic and maybe even try their hand at growing some plants and some trees themselves with their magical abilities. So that is the immediate next scene from this point here. But yeah, this is probably a good point to wrap us up at. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, so far, like, I
This
really,
is so much
really
fun.
love it. And it's really fun to play with you guys because I think that adds to
Right.
the to the
Honestly.
enjoyment of it. Jed, how many chapters are there in total? And can you tell people a little bit more about how to pick up the game? We'll be releasing this
Absolutely.
on
So
April 14th, and if you could just mention like platforms, price, and that kind of stuff too.
yeah, for sure. So there's 9 chapters total plus an epilogue at the end. So yeah, today we played through about a third of the first chapter, so that kind of gives you an idea of the depth and scope of this. In terms of where to find it, it's published as of today, I believe. So you can go over to if you just search Siege of Treboulain Choice of Games, that will take you there, and you can play it as an app on your phone. You can play it online, just on the internet, or you can download it on Steam as well. So
Nice.
I might give you, Adrian, the link to the page down below that will just let you select which option out of those you want to pick it up at. And you can also play the first 3 chapters for free, and then at that point you can decide whether you want to continue with it or not. So yeah, those are your options in terms of finding it. And also during this first initial week, so from April 14 to April 20, I think, the game is discounted 33% off. So if you want to check it out during that period, it's a little bit cheaper as well, which is cool. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all the details.
Awesome, and I'll include a bunch of those links in the show notes, both on the YouTube and the podcast version. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I had a great time playing with you guys, and
Yeah, this is so
Yeah.
much fun.
This
Connor,
was
Tori,
huge
and
fun.
Jed, thank you guys so much for joining me for this.
This was really great.
Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. This was awesome.